Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. You have no idea the toll that 3 transfer portal transactions have on a person. Transfer portal, recruiting, we got a lot to talk about only here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Burning through this. Today's episode is brought to you by Sonos. Experience the game like never before with Sonos Arc, the premium smart soundbar for TV, movies, music, games, whatever you want to do. Visit Sonos.com to learn more. Happy Tuesday. I am Brandon Olson. You can find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. I'm also the founder of WholeNineSports.com, where you can find all my written work. And getting right into it now, we're talking about Tyrone Hopper is the first person we're going to talk about because, of course, first off, what in the world? that's all I can say about it there. So Tyrone Hopper, of course, entered the transfer portal. I believe it was Thursday last week. He was in the portal for 68 minutes before being pulled out of the portal, allegedly. And now he is back in the transfer portal as of yesterday afternoon. His uncle on Twitter said that, that Tyrone Hopper never intended to exit the portal. He entered the portal on Thursday and was then withdrawn from the portal without his consent or without his knowledge, permission, whatever you want to use. And then he entered the portal again on Monday afternoon. Yesterday afternoon. He was fourth on the Gators this season in tackles, third in tackles for a loss, and tied for third in sacks on the team, despite not getting the deserved playing time, I'll say. I guess that's how I put it. So it's incredibly frustrating because, he's someone who we have very high hopes for. Just Gator Nation has very high hopes for as someone who is going to take strides and become this elite linebacker for us at the next level. And that didn't happen, of course. From what I've heard to this point, Auburn is the most likely landing spot for him. That's not very surprising. Playing time opportunity is there. It is available. Also, Christian Robinson, who was the Gators linebackers coach and for a bit of a time, interim defensive coordinator, is now with the Auburn football team. He joined the coaching staff late last week, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, which makes sense as Tyrone Hopper entering the transfer portal at the same time that Christian Robinson announces where he will be going to be a new assistant coach there, a linebackers coach there. So it makes sense. There's a little bit of turmoil also going on with the Auburn football staff right now, but I have no problem saying I would prefer it if Tyrone Hopper came back. I think he's a big-time playmaker. I think that he's still got a ton of potential, and I think he's still one of the best linebackers on the team if he were to come here. I get why he would enter the portal. I think the timing's a little weird where it's like, well, okay, he's just trying to be with Christian Robinson. But I'm not going to pretend that because he's leaving Florida or potentially leaving Florida that he's not good anymore. I think he's a great talent. I'd be ecstatic if he came back here. But at the same side, I'm like, you know what? Ultimately, you should go where you think is the best opportunity for you and the best place for you. And if that's not Gainesville, then so be it, man. Best of luck to you. Another person that we're now talking about even more, especially since Tyrone Hopper entered the portal. I know that people are saying, oh, maybe this player or maybe Hopper entered the portal because of this. I think it's much more the opposite, if they're related at all. Harold Perkins, the number 4 player in the nation, according to 24/7, he was committed to Texas A&M. Florida recently made a strong push, and now, as of yesterday, he decommitted from Texas A&M. And so people are like, oh, maybe Tyrone Hopper entered the portal because he thought Harold Perkins was coming. Look, I'm not going to buy that an upperclassman linebacker is going to enter the portal because a freshman is coming in. I will say it's much more likely that an upperclassman entered the portal and then an incoming freshman decommitted from his other place and is like, hey, maybe I can come here. We spoke about Harold Perkins a week or two ago as someone that he was a long shot to come to Florida, but a possibility. No, not seeming like such a long shot anymore. He's decommitted from Texas A&M. Florida's been making a strong push. He's been heavily recruited by Patrick Toney. And I mean, look, we've seen this before. Shamar James has said that Patrick Toney showed him his scheme, and that's what made him want to come to Florida, and that's what really sealed it in. Maybe the same thing happened with Harold Perkins. Maybe he saw Patrick Toney. He's like, damn, that's a nice scheme here. And Harold Perkins is a freaky athlete, Shaq Thompson, Miles Jack-esque, where he's a linebacker, he's a running back, he's got insane athleticism. He's that dude. He could be an animal in this defense. Versatility is key here, and Harold Perkins can be exactly that. With Tyron Hopper, I don't know if it makes it more likely or less likely that he comes to Gainesville. It's entirely possible that it was purely coincidence that Tyron Hopper entered the portal for the second time in a week and Harold Perkins decommitted from Texas A&M. It's entirely possible that's a purely coincidence based on, Monday I'm going to make my announcement, and that's what happened. So I'm not going to say it has anything to do with it, but I do think even if it didn't have anything to do with it, Hopper entering the portal definitely clears up the argument of we can get you early playing time, like undeniable fact now, because there's a lot of snaps that just opened up and a lot of production available. So I think that this only helps Florida, especially if Hopper is in fact leaving. I think it helps Harold Perkins, or helps Florida get Harold Perkins maybe to Gainesville. We got a week and a half before National Signing Day, so anything could happen.
Don't mind the seemingly instant change of clothes here, just for this brief segment, and then the instant change back to clothes. Next to talk about is Max Brown, who, I initially recorded this segment. I was like, oh, Max Brown this, Max Brown that. Maybe he'll be a Gator. Maybe he'll be a Washington Husky. And then about 20 minutes after I recorded yesterday, Max Brown committed to Florida, 3-star quarterback out of Oklahoma. He's a 2022 quarterback, so he will be on campus this year. Recently committed to Central Michigan a few weeks ago under former Florida Gators head coach Jim McElwain, who that worked out tremendously, by the way. Max Brown, then he was a highly productive quarterback in high school, 3-star recruit, then received offers from Florida and Washington. He visited Florida in Gainesville, obviously, this past weekend. And then this coming weekend, he's got a scheduled visit with Washington at the time of recording this. I don't know if he's still going to take that visit. I would assume he does, just to not be a, kind of just close the book kind of guy, but just to remain a little open. But yeah, he's committed to the University of Florida. He visited Florida this past weekend and then decommitted yesterday morning, or maybe early afternoon. And then he committed to Florida after saying he got an offer while he was gone. It was pretty cool. I was not expecting this commitment this early. Like I thought that he would ultimately commit to be a Florida Gators quarterback. Well, he can compete for the starting spot. I don't give a damn who it is. I just put the best quarterback there. So yeah, I thought would commit to Florida ultimately, but I thought that he would wait until February 2nd because I thought he would take his official visit with Washington. And then I thought, he would take a few days to mull it over before National Signing Day. And never mind that noise. that ain't happening. But I mean, it's interesting. I'm excited to see it. I would love to see what he can do in this offense. Again, I'm very open to just having a completely open quarterback battle. You got Emory there, sure. Anthony Richardson's dealing with injury. You've got Max Brown. You've got Jack Miller III, Carlos Del Wilson, Jalen Kitna. Get whoever you want in that quarterback battle and just let them duke it out. Max Brown, he's a bit of a sleeper, but like we said, highly productive. He knows how to operate a little bit. He might get a little shifty in there. And I'm excited to see it work out. According to the 24/7 composite, he is a national prospect, number 1738. So if you are a 2014, 2015 Fetty Wap fan, congratulations. If you're a 2022 Fetty Wap fan, why? I don't get that. We'll be back with more quarterback prospects or more high school Florida Gator prospects in just a second.
Anybody else make money this past weekend? Because I know I did. I know we made money last weekend, last week, this weekend. yesterday so far. So I'm rolling. It is what it is. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports action. Obviously, Florida, you throwing a ton of wrenches in my plan. Thanks for that. Appreciate you. BetOnline even covers award shows, TV shows, and reality TV with real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. It is the best way to place your bets, and it's 100% free to sign up. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, your online sportsbook experts. Make sure to use promo code Locked On. That is LOCKED, no space, ON. Now we're going to wrap up talking about 4 more Florida Gators recruits, commits. We're gonna mix it around here. I'm gonna try to pronounce this name, and I promise you I'm trying, but it's wild. I haven't heard people say it. I've seen it written a bunch of times, but here we go. Andrew Savainea. That's what I'm rolling with. I will look for a better. I will hopefully get a better pronunciation there. 3-star edge out of Washington. I mean, I've watched a little bit of him. He looks like a lengthy edge. Like he looks like he's got long arms. It looks like he can bend quite a bit. So, those are tools that you need playing edge, and those are very promising tools that you could build upon. So he just received his offer on Saturday night, and then he committed yesterday afternoon. So it was very quick that it was like, hey, I'm coming to Florida if they give me that offer. And he got the offer. He visited Gainesville this past weekend, got his offer from Billy Napier while he was in Gainesville. And I'd imagine, if I had to think about how this recruiting pitch went for him, I'd imagine it was a lot of Patrick Toney and Sean Spencer going, look, this is your role in this defense. This is what we'd expect from you. This is what we want from you. He's, I believe, 6'4", 260. So he's got size, he's got length, and he's pretty athletic. So maybe, show him what creepers is. Show him that he's going to be dropping back into coverage every now and then. Show him that he's going to be rushing the passer a lot. And then you look at Sean Spencer, and it's like, well, he's developed quite a few NFL pass rushers. And I think if you're an edge and you look at Sean Spencer and you look at this Patrick Toney scheme, you go, I don't know of a way that I can turn this down, especially with the playing time that should be available early at Florida. So I think he was just like, you know what? This is so easy. The coaching staff is in place. The scheme is in place. The talent is there, or the playing time is there. He also had offers from Kentucky, California, Nebraska, and Virginia, but again, very quickly committed to the Florida Gators once he got that offer. Hayden Hansen is the next person to talk about. And this one's fun because, people were talking in my YouTube comments literally in yesterday's episode, because I was talking about recruiting impact players early on. And it was like, then why are we signing a 2-star or 3-star tight end? Well, guess what? Hayden Hansen, 3-star tight end out of Texas, 6'5", 250 pounds. I don't give a damn about the stars. Stars mean absolutely nothing unless you are talking about ranking the recruiting classes. Aside from that, it's what you do when you get on campus. Hayden Hansen, he's a 3-star tight end from most places, occasional 2-star. I don't care. Travis Kelce was a 2-star tight end when he went to Cincinnati. I don't give a damn at that point. Obviously he's an outlier, but guess what? I don't care. There have been so many 5-stars that have crumbled and fallen. There have been so many 2-stars and unranked players that have been great. Cooper Kupp didn't have a star. Crazy. So I don't care what the stars are. I've very openly said I don't care what the stars are. It's great when you look at recruiting classes and when you want to look at rankings like that, or to get like a general feel of people. But stars mean nothing to me. I don't care. I care about what you do when you get on the field. And Hayden Hansen, I mean, he's got a solid vertical. He's a basketball player. He also punted, if that helps. But it doesn't. But if you're curious, so he's got that ability to be a red zone threat. I don't think he's super athletic. I think he's athletic enough. I don't think he's super athletic. I don't think he's super nuanced in running his routes. I don't think he's a fantastic blocker, but I think he's capable of getting the job done at least early on, or maybe not getting the job done in the SEC, but he's about what you'd expect from a high school tight end. So I think he's got a solid base. I think he can contribute early if he's going to play in the red zones exclusively. Well, why not give him a shot? That's what I'm saying. Bryce Caper is a 3-star linebacker. He committed to Florida as a preferred walk-on. He turned down Florida International, FIU, turned down Akron, and he turned down Liberty scholarship offers to come to Florida. And I don't think people understand just how much you have to convince a kid that he should come to your school if he's turning down scholarship offers to whatever it may be. I don't know his family's financial situation, but to come to Florida and pay tuition, whether it's, getting a loan, applying for other scholarships, whatever it may be. But you got to take the road less traveled there to get to Florida and play for Florida. And I give him nothing but credit here. And then Arlis Boardingham, 3-star athlete from California. He announced his top 2 yesterday. It was between Florida and Oregon. And I like Arlis Boardingham. I'm not going to lie to you. He is scheduled to meet with Coach Piegler and Coach Napier. William Piegler, of course, is the Florida Gators tight ends coach. Billy Napier is, of course, the Florida Gators head coach. He's scheduled to meet with them next Tuesday, I believe, is the date that they're meeting. I think he'll be a receiver. He's listed as an athlete. I think he'll play wide receiver for Florida. The size is there, 6'5", so could play receiver, could play tight end, although I don't think he'll be doing that. I don't think he's going to be playing defense. So 6'5" receiver. I'm also kind of convinced that he's going to be playing receiver because from what I know, most of his recruiting has been done by Kiri Colbert, who, of course, is Florida's wide receivers coach. In California at USC, he was a wide receivers coach. He's an NFL wide receiver. So, he's all about receivers. He's been talking to Arlis Boardingham for the most part. And it's like, I think if you're sending your wide receivers coach out there for most of the conversation, or maybe not sending him there, but you're having him responsible for most of the conversations, a lot of it's going to be, we can get you to the league. We got Justin Shorter, who's got 1 year left in Gainesville. Xavier Henderson, I don't think he'll be in Gainesville much longer. So it's like Arlis Boardingham, you could fill both of those roles if you really want. We can get you moving inline, tight end, big slot, whatever you want to do. We can get you moving. You'll be primarily a wide receiver, I think. But give it a year or two, just waiting, and you could be that guy in the offense that's going to be our X receiver, because Billy Napier will be looking for an X receiver pretty soon, I'd say. So Arlis Boardingham, why not, man? That's all I'm going to say. Recruiting is going swimmingly for Florida. Things are picking up and National Signing Day is creeping up and Florida's making push after push after push. And I mean, hey, we could be going from very low in the rankings to very high in the rankings very shortly. So I'm excited for it. And again, this is supposed to be a bad class for Florida, but things are shaping up pretty nicely, if I do say so myself. Hey, Gators fans, I'm here with an incredible app that everyone who buys gas needs to know about. It is Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and use promo code SCORE to get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. So that's 50 cents per gallon on your first fill up. So, I mean, hey, wait till that thing's running on E, maybe a little bit past E, swing by the gas station, fill her up, and maximize your return on investment there. So I'm just saying, make sure to download the app, Get Upside, use promo code SCORE to get up to 50 cents cash back per gallon, and you can get your cash to, bank account, PayPal, e-gift card for Amazon or other places. Just download the free Get Upside app and use the promo code SCORE to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back. Now we're going to wrap up today's show by talking about Florida Gators in the NFL playoffs. I know last week I kind of went through a recap of all of the Gators. I'm sorry, besides Evan Mcpherson and Tommy Townsend. I'm sorry. His time, not so much. We saw just some of the greatest games I've ever seen. Sunday was just phenomenal football, but I am still reeling from those games. I'm still very upset about those games, by the way, because I had bet on both the losers. So that was fun. Didn't make money on those, but prop bets murdered it. But there's guaranteed to be a Florida Gator to win the Super Bowl because there are 4 teams remaining in the NFL playoffs. The AFC Championship, you've got the Kansas City Chiefs hosting Cincinnati Bengals. And then, NFC Championship is basically a neutral site at this point. It's the LA Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams are hosting, and all the teams have a Florida Gator, which means, yes, we are guaranteed to have a Florida Gator picking up a Super Bowl ring as long as they don't get cut. That's pretty much where we're at. The 49ers, if they cut Marcel Harris, would be the only team without a Gator, but that ain't looking likely. The 49ers do have Marcel Harris. He is a safety linebacker hybrid. He plays for the 49ers, but he doesn't really play much, which is why he is also the biggest risk to get cut, but I don't think it happens. I think he's going to provide excellent versatility, depth, and pretty much veteran leadership at this point. In case of injury, he'll be around. The Rams, who are playing the 49ers, have Van Jefferson and Brandon Powell on roster, both receivers, both Florida Gators alum, and of course Brandon Powell doesn't really play receiver. He isn't really play receiver for the Rams, but he's quickly become one of the better punt returners in the league over the final quarter of the season and then playoffs. He has just been, I mean, it seems like every time he's returning a punt, it's for a big chunk of 15, 20 yards. So he's been doing phenomenally. And again, doesn't play much as a receiver, been more of a gadget guy when he is playing offense in his career. But right now, he seems to have found his role with the Los Angeles Rams as a punt returner. Van Jefferson is the wide receiver 3 for the Los Angeles Rams. He's got 3 catches on 4 targets for 70 yards in the playoffs so far. He also has 1 carry for 15 yards, which came on a jet sweep against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a game that they almost choked away. But yeah, I mean, Van Jefferson might not be targeted super frequently in this offense, but he is still very much relied upon as a receiver when he's needed, and he's very relied upon as a blocker in this offense, because I think that there's no better blocking receivers or no offense that relies more on the blocking ability of their wide receivers than the LA Rams, because they go in these tight condensed sets so much. The receivers have to be able to block. And I think that Van Jefferson and obviously Cooper Kupp are 2 of the best blocking receivers in the NFL. So Van Jefferson might not be putting up gaudy stat lines, but his impact is very much felt on this offense and on this team. And he could be playing a big role in a Super Bowl championship team. The AFC championship, again, like I mentioned, Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati Bengals. The Kansas City Chiefs have 2 Florida Gators on their roster. One is Demarcus Robinson, who he's had 4 catches for 76 yards in the entire playoffs, which if you listen to last week's episode, you know that Demarcus Robinson had 4 catches for 76 yards versus Steelers last week. So yeah, against the Bills, which still just that game, just insane. Against the Bills, that game. He did not have a catch. He did get 1 target, but did not have a catch because, again, that offense was pretty much just a Tyreek or Travis down there somewhere and just throwing bombs the entire time, and that's not Demarcus Robinson's game. So that sucked, but yeah, I mean, Demarcus Robinson, a receiver that plays a pretty significant amount of snaps, could be getting a championship ring again. And Tommy Townsend, the punter for the Kansas City Chiefs, 6 punts, 226 yards in the playoffs so far. The Cincinnati Bengals, they've got Evan Mcpherson, who is just ice in the veins. He is more cold. Oh, man. You know, I'm going to get to him in a little bit. Fred Johnson, an offensive lineman who he's listed as a guard, but he's listed as a guard, but on the depth chart, plays left tackle and right tackle, and he's played tackle in the NFL this season. He doesn't really play much. I think he's played like 12 snaps on the year or 22 snaps in the year, and like 12 of them were in week 18. So he doesn't play much, but hey, he's there. He's a swing tackle when needed, swing lineman when needed. Vernon Hargreaves III is another Florida Gator, Cincinnati Bengal. He also doesn't really play well. I think he played like 4 snaps in the playoffs combined so far. Doesn't play much. Again, veteran presence when needed. He'll be there. I think that he's better than the numbers have shown, or better than the playing time have shown. Again, I know y'all hate my opinion on players, so. But Evan Mcpherson, back to him. He is just so cold. He's 11 for 11 on kicks in the playoffs so far. 8 for 8 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. And man, if you didn't watch the Bengals game last week, oh my Lord, that boy cooking. He kicked the game-winning field goal 2 games in a row, and he's just been lights out. And he apparently, when he was walking on the field to kick the game-winning field goal, he was just like, hey, it looks like we're going to the AFC Championship. And oh my God, that is savagery right there. So yeah, guaranteed to have a Florida Gator winning the Super Bowl. Good time to be alive right now. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more about your Florida Gators and make your second listen Locked On Auburn, hosted by Zach Blackerby, where you can get the latest on Christian Robinson and potential Auburn linebacker transfer Tyrone Hopper. For Locked On Gators, I am Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. You can find all of my written work with Whole 9 Sports. That is WHOLE and INE Sports. And I will see you all tomorrow.